The day we buried my daughter Emma, the world felt unnaturally quiet, as if even the birds understood that something sacred had been broken. The sky was heavy with clouds, pressing down on us like grief made visible. I stood beside her coffin, my hands trembling, unable to comprehend how a mother could outlive her child. Emma was only 30, two, one careless driver, one late night call, one sentence from a trembling police officer that shattered my entire existence. I'm sorry, ma'am. There are moments in life that divide everything into before and after. That phone call was mine. At the cemetery, people said the usual things. She's in a better place. Stay strong. Time heals. But time does not heal the loss of a child. It simply teaches you how to carry the weight without collapsing in public. Daniel, her husband, looked broken. He wept openly, clinging to the small white coffin as if he could stop them from lowering it. I remember feeling grateful that Emma had married someone who seemed to love her so deeply. And then there was Lily, my sweet granddaughter, only 5 years old. She didn't fully understand what death meant. She kept asking when Mommy would wake up. She kept tugging at my coat, whispering, "Grandma, why is everyone crying?" That question nearly destroyed me. When the last shovel of dirt fell, I made a silent promise. I pressed my palm against the cool marble headstone and whispered, "I will take care of them. I won't let your daughter grow up without support. I won't let your family fall apart." Daniel approached me afterward, his eyes swollen and red. "I don't know how I'm going to raise her alone," he said. "Emma handled everything. You won't be alone." I told him, and I meant it. A few weeks later, I transferred the first $40 into Daniel's account. For Lily, I said, for school, for stability, for whatever she needs. He resisted at first, at least politely, but grief has a way of making pride disappear. He eventually accepted, thanking me with tears in his eyes. Every year after that, I sent the same amount, $40,000, a ritual, my way of staying connected to Emma. Daniel would send updates, photos of Lily's birthdays, her missing teeth, school awards. "She's thriving," he'd write, "you're such a blessing." And I believed him, because trusting him meant trusting that Emma's love story hadn't ended in tragedy. It meant believing I was keeping my promise. 7 years passed like that, quietly, steadily, until one small question from Lily would make me realize that sometimes love blinds us in ways betrayal depends on. Lily didn't mean to change my life that afternoon. We were sitting on the back porch, the late sunlight turning her hair the same warm shade Emma's used to glow in. She was taller now, 12 years old, all long limbs and quiet thoughts. Childhood was slipping from her too quickly. "Grandma," she asked softly, tracing circles on the wooden bench, "why do you send Daddy so much money?" The question startled me, but I smiled gently. "So he can take care of you properly, sweetheart. School, activities, anything you need." She didn't smile back. Her silence stretched longer than it should have, but it doesn't. She whispered. My heart gave a slow, heavy thud. "What do you mean?" I asked carefully. She hesitated, as if betraying a secret. "Daddy says we have to be careful with money. He said we can't afford my piano lessons anymore, and maybe I shouldn't try out for the science camp because it's expensive." Piano lessons. Emma had loved the piano. She used to play every evening, filling the house with music that felt like sunlight. After she passed, continuing Lily's lessons felt like preserving a piece of her mother's spirit. How long ago did they stop? I asked gently. 6 months. 6 months. I had sent Daniel the annual $40 trance for 7 months ago. I felt something cold settle in my chest, but I kept my voice steady. "Has anything else changed?" Lily nodded slightly. Daddy says work is stressful. He goes away sometimes. Aunt Karen stays with me when he travels. Work trips. I asked. She shrugged. That's what he says. That evening, Daniel returned home cheerful, carrying takeout from a restaurant far too expensive for someone struggling financially. He kissed Lily's head and thanked me for visiting, playing the part of the devoted single father perfectly. But once you hear doubt, you cannot unhear it. Later that night, while he showered upstairs, I walked down the hallway toward the guest room. That's when I saw it, half, hidden under a stack of mail on the console table, a glossy brochure for a luxury Italian resort, Tuscany, 5-star villas, private wine tours. Beneath it sat a small white envelope. I didn't mean to look, but I did. Inside was a receipt, an engagement ring. My fingers trembled. Engagement ring, no mention, no conversation, no explanation. For 7 years, I had trusted him completely. I believed my money went toward Lily's education, her security, her future. But children don't invent worry. They live inside it. And that night, as I lay awake staring at the ceiling, one thought echoed over and over. If money was tight, why was his life expanding while Lily's was shrinking? For the first time since Emma died, I felt something stronger than grief, suspicion. I didn't confront Daniel the next morning. I didn't slam the brochure onto the table. I didn't wave the ring receipt in his face. I didn't accuse him of betrayal. Instead, I watched. There is a certain power in silence. It gives the other person room to reveal themselves. At breakfast, Daniel sighed dramatically while pouring coffee. Things have been tight lately, he said. Inflation, school expenses, it's just a lot. I stirred my tea slowly. I can imagine. I replied, my voice calm. He nodded, relieved, assuming I believed him. For 7 years, I had been the grateful mother-in-law who trusted him blindly, the grieving woman who wanted peace more than truth. But something inside me had shifted. Grief had matured into clarity. After I returned home, I sat at my desk and pulled out my financial records. Every transfer was neatly documented. $40,000 every single year, no delays, no reductions. $280,000. I whispered the number aloud, letting it settle in the room like a witness. Then I called my lawyer. I've been financially supporting my late daughter's husband. I explained evenly, for 7 years, substantial amounts. Were they loans? He asked. No, gifts for my granddaughter's care. There was a pause. If they were voluntary gifts, reclaiming them will be difficult. But you are under no obligation to continue. No obligation. The words felt like air returning to my lungs. I want to ensure my granddaughter is protected. I said, properly protected. Within days, we began drafting documents for a formal trust in Lily's name, locked until she turned 18. Funds restricted strictly for education and living expenses. Monitored, transparent, no more blind transfers. The following week, I invited Daniel to lunch at a quiet restaurant downtown. He seemed relaxed, even cheerful. After small talk, I folded my napkin carefully. I've been reassessing my finances. I began. I won't be able to continue the annual support payments. His fork froze midair. What? His voice sharpened. But Lily will be cared for. I interrupted calmly. I've established a trust fund in her name. It will secure her future. His jaw tightened. So you don't trust me? I held his gaze steadily for the first time in years. Trust is built through transparency. For a moment, something flashed across his face, anger, perhaps even fear. He left abruptly, barely finishing his meal, but I wasn't finished either. That same evening, I hired a private investigator. If there was truth hidden beneath his polished grief and financial complaints, I would uncover it. Because a grieving mother might accept doubt, but a grandmother protecting her granddaughter. She prepares for war quietly. The investigation took 3 weeks, 3 long, silent weeks where I said nothing, asked nothing, and revealed nothing. When the report finally arrived, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional, it was simply factual: credit card statements, photographs, travel records, luxury hotels in Miami, a beachfront resort in Mexico, a private wine tour in Tuscany, the very same one from the brochure I had seen, expensive watches purchased within days of my yearly transfers, fine dining bills that exceeded what Lily's piano lessons would have cost for an entire year. And then there were the photographs: Daniel, smiling, relaxed, arm wrapped around a woman with glossy dark hair, Marissa, his fiancée, while telling Lily they couldn't afford science camp. I didn't cry. The tears had already been spent 7 years ago at my daughter's grave. What I felt now wasn't heartbreak, it was resolve. I met my lawyer again, this time with the investigation file in hand. We petitioned the court for a financial review regarding Lily's welfare. My claim was simple: if Daniel had declared financial hardship while receiving substantial external support, the court deserved transparency. The audit was ordered. Daniel tried to act outraged. "You're humiliating me," he snapped during a tense phone call. "No," I replied quietly, "you humiliated yourself." When the financial records were presented, the image he had carefully built began to crumble. The judge reviewed the transfers, the spending patterns, and the absence of savings for Lily's future. "Where," the judge asked firmly, "is the educational fund for your daughter?" Daniel had no answer. The ruling came 2 weeks later. A court-monitored account was established for Lily immediately. My trust fund was approved. And due to concerns regarding financial stability and prioritization of the child's needs, primary guardianship shifted to me. Daniel retained visitation rights, but Lily would live with me. The day she arrived with her suitcase, she stood in my doorway looking small and uncertain. "Am I in trouble?" she asked softly. I knelt in front of her, brushing her hair away from her face. "No, sweetheart, you are safe." Within months, Daniel's engagement ended. Marissa disappeared when the lifestyle shrank. The trips stopped, the luxury faded. I didn't celebrate. Revenge, I realized, isn't loud. It doesn't scream or destroy. It restores balance. I enrolled Lily back into piano lessons. I hung Emma's photographs in the hallway. Every Sunday, we cooked her mother's favorite recipes and told stories that kept her memory alive. One evening, Lily played the piano while sunlight streamed through the windows. For the first time in 7 years, my promise felt real. I had stopped writing checks and started showing up.